some difference there. Okay? So if you go for this, yeah, you will definitely learn to understand. If you see this word in the text sometime later, you will understand it. Yeah? You will read the text and you will understand what it means. But if you wanted to use this word actively in a sentence, in writing, in speech, very often you may have problems. You can do it in a wrong way. Yeah? The reason for that is that, okay, you translate it into your first language, and then you want to use it in the same way as you would use it in your first language, so you translate it. Okay? And translation very often produces mistakes, errors, because, for example, prepositions are different. Yeah? Or, for example, some people say "listen me." Is it correct to say "listen me"? Listen to me. Yeah. But if you, for example, if you think about your first language, do you have to listen to me? Yeah. So another thing is, if you wanted to translate something from English to your first language, right? It's not exactly going to be the same. If I, for example, would you like a sandwich? Can you translate it into your first language by translating would you like a sandwich? Do you need to translate 5 words?
No.
No, it would have a different structure, I guess. Yeah? Yeah, so this is why translation very often produces errors. Yeah? And if you just translate it into your first language, then later you may try to translate it back. Yeah? And this may produce errors. If you see an example how to use it in a sentence, then it is easier to use it later. Okay. Another thing is, so basically, I would like to encourage you to keep your to record your vocabulary in this way, whenever possible. Yeah. Sometimes you may still want to have a little note of your first language, like, just to feel safe that you're sure that you understand it. But I would even want you to not have any translation, but just try to have a short phrase. You are very right that it is time consuming. It is very time consuming. But then if you put some effort into it, if you spend some time, if you engage in making a note, using, I don't know, colorful pens, maybe as a result you will remember it better. Okay, and another thing, you said that you have to learn a lot of vocabulary, right? Well, okay, but sometimes you will have to choose between quality and quantity. Yeah, so maybe you can learn 100 words, but only be able to recognize them in the text, or just learn 5 words and be able to use them. Yeah. If for example, I'm learning French. Yeah. If I could choose, do I want to learn 100 words to recognize, or 5 words to use? I would go for the second option. Okay, one more thing. Oh, strange. I would encourage you to keep your notes like this, or even like this. So to have a to write down the pronunciation. This is one thing that students very often completely ignore. Yeah, they only do this, and pronunciation, that's completely forgotten. Yeah, and then what it results in is that you guess the pronunciation. You kind of try to assume, predict how to pronounce it, and very often you can get it wrong. So, yeah, learning new vocabulary is not only having a translation to your first language, but also checking the pronunciation. Do you know how to read these signs? By the way?
Yes.
Yeah? You don't know, okay. So yeah, do you check the pronunciation? Do you check the pronunciation when you see a new word?
Yes.
How do you check it? How do you check it?
From
Uh-huh. Like, what do you mean from the internet?
They have some source
or
for,
something.
yes, they have some source for
checking, you just click it and then
Uh-huh.
they will repeat in English.
Uh-huh. Okay. Very often people rely on dictionaries, okay? And dictionaries can be divided into two groups, monolingual and bilingual. Do you understand what it means? So bilingual means there are two languages.
Yeah.
So for example, English Chinese, English what other? Turkish? English Turkish, yeah, so that's bilingual. And monolingual is only one language. So English English. Yeah? I suspect that most of you are using bilingual dictionaries.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Okay. Again, that leads to keeping your notes in this way rather than the other way.
Yeah.
Because very often what you get in a bilingual dictionary is just a translation. Okay. There are two monolingual dictionaries that I would recommend, and I don't have any commission from Longman. I just think it's a good dictionary. So Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English online.com. You can use it online. You can also buy it, but you can access it for free. Yeah, it might be a good idea to write it down actually. If you write down this, LDOCE online.com. And another one that might be useful is Oxford Dictionary. The web address, Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary. The web address is a little bit more, is a bit longer. It's oxfordlearnersdictionaries.com. Okay, so if you've got it, then maybe yeah. Okay, so maybe let's have a look at one of these. Yeah, this is Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English. A new word. Does anyone know this word?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know this word before?
Yeah.
You knew. Okay. If you didn't, I suppose if you look at this at the definition like this, so apprehensive, worried or nervous about something that you are going to do or about the future. Apprehensive is the same as worried or nervous. Do you need to translate it into your first language?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And then you have apprehensive about something. Yeah. So the preposition that goes after that. Apprehensive that, and then a normal clause. And if you want to find a little sentence, you can also look at some examples. So we've been a little apprehensive about their visit. Yeah, Longman is quite good because it has very simple definitions. It's a dictionary for learners. Yeah, because there are also dictionaries for native speakers, and then they would have very complicated definitions. Unfortunately, the free online version means that you can't listen to the pronunciation. You can only do that if you have a copy that you can install on your computer or if you buy the app. But the other one actually has the pronunciation. Okay, so you can see the phonemic transcript. Okay, and you can also listen to it.
Apprehensively.
Oh, sorry, that's apprehensively. Apprehensively.
Apprehensive.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see worried or frightened. I would say that Longman has a more simple definitions because I think most people will know the word worried or nervous, but frightened may be a little bit, maybe a bit more difficult. Again, apprehensive about. I was a little apprehensive about the effects of what I had said. You have no reason to be apprehensive of the future. Okay, so I would strongly recommend that you, when you see new vocabulary, that you don't go straight into your bilingual dictionaries, but first try the monolingual dictionary, and then if you still don't understand it, then maybe have a look into bilingual dictionary. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, right. So, we'll continue with that tomorrow and after tomorrow. Now, I'm going to give you your new booklets.